So, imagine an AI that doesn't just write a single line of code and then clock out, but actively promotes itself to project manager. Like an AI that catches its own mistakes, alerts you to them, and then learns from your corrections in real time so it never makes that same error again.
Oh, wow. I mean, that sounds like science fiction, but that is the actual baseline we are looking at today.
It really is. Welcome to episode 520 of AI Brief, our daily deep dive into the massive shifts happening in AI infrastructure. Today, we are unpacking Anthropic's incredibly aggressive rollout of Claude Opus 4.8. We've also got Biohub's groundbreaking world model for protein biology, the OpenAI Foundation dropping $250 million to handle AI-driven job disruption, and a new startup that is completely solving the frozen model problem by letting AI learn on the job.
I think the underlying theme today is just how rapidly AI is maturing. It's transitioning from a reactive tool you simply query into this proactive, continuous infrastructure that actually orchestrates real work.
Absolutely.
We are no longer just generating text here. We are seeing models orchestrating massive code bases, designing entirely new biological drugs from scratch, and adapting to human feedback on the fly.
Let's get right into today's new updates, starting with Anthropic's release of Claude Opus 4.8. And I feel like we have to start with the timeline here. Launching this just 41 days after version 4.7 is an unbelievably aggressive cadence.
It is incredibly fast. But this isn't merely a minor benchmark bump. This is really a fundamental repair job focused on workflow scale, reliability, and developer trust.
Definitely. The best way to understand their new dynamic workflows feature is to think about promoting an employee. In the past, you were essentially dealing with a solo intern. You gave it a task, it tried its best, and it often just got stuck.
Which was incredibly frustrating for developers.
Totally. But with Opus 4.8, you are promoting that AI to a full-scale project manager. It's now capable of coordinating hundreds of parallel subagents. So if you give it a massive multi-step code-based task, it delegates, manages, and compiles the work autonomously.
And that project manager capability relies heavily on a major new upgrade focused on what Anthropic calls honesty. Opus 4.8 is actually built to flag its own flawed code.
Wait, really? It catches its own
It
mistakes?
does. Think about your own workflow. How annoying is it when an AI hallucinates a fix that silently breaks your application? Instead of just passing an error and hoping you don't notice, Opus 4.8 actively halts and alerts the developer.
That is a massive time saver. What about the cost, though? Usually these big organizational upgrades come with a price hike.
Well, Anthropic is playing a very smart pricing game here. They are offering Opus 4.8 at the exact same standard price as 4.7, and they've actually made the faster, lighter mode significantly cheaper.
Okay, that is super competitive.
It is. But looking at the competitive landscape, it's important to note that OpenAI's GPT still holds the crown on agentic terminal coding benchmarks. That is basically when you lock an AI in a developer environment and tell it to solve software bugs entirely on its own.
I see. So GPT still has the edge there. But, if these models are orchestrating massive tasks, we immediately hit a structural hurdle in the industry. Models typically stop learning the moment they are deployed.
Oh, the frozen model problem. Yes.
Exactly. I mean, yes, you train them, you release them, and they remain completely frozen in time. If you correct a mistake today, the model will make the exact same mistake tomorrow for the next user.
Which makes deploying them in enterprise settings super tedious.
So enter Trajectory. This is a startup founded by ex-DeepMind, Apple, and Meta researchers, and they just secured $15 million in seed funding to build what they call continual learning AI.
The mechanics here are absolutely fascinating. Trajectory essentially sits on top of your workflow. It captures your corrections, your retries, and your edits from live product data.
And then it uses that information to continuously post-train the underlying models so they actually improve over time. They are currently updating these models weekly, but their ambitious target is hourly updates, or even updating at every single interaction.
Hourly updates. That is wild.
I have to push back on that a bit, though. Updating a model's core weights hourly sounds like a logistical nightmare. What about the massive compute costs? Or the risk of catastrophic forgetting, like where an AI learns your new workflow but suddenly forgets how to do basic math.
That is definitely the technical tightrope they're walking. Yeah. But from a business perspective, achieving that continual learning is really the holy grail. Businesses do not want static tools.
They want AI that compounds in quality.
Yes, almost instantly after a failure and a fix. It mimics how humans learn on the job. You make a mistake, you get corrected, you don't do it again. Trajectory is figuring out how to run that post-training efficiently without breaking the core model.
And we are already seeing early customers using this, like the legal AI Harvey and the data tool Clay.
And Trajectory states that its post-trained models are actually outperforming massive frontier AI models on crucial narrow tasks, simply because they adapt to the specific nuanced workflows of the user.
So, if these models are orchestrating code and learning on the fly, what happens when we point that exact same adaptive orchestration at the physical world, like specifically human biology?
We get some staggering developments, that's what happens.
Seriously, we have this massive news from Biohub. This is Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan's organization, and they have just released the evolutionary scale models, specifically a highlight model called ESM-Fold 2.
The raw scale involved here is just hard to wrap your head around. This model was trained on 2.8 billion protein sequences.
Just to break that down for a second, the sequence is essentially the basic string of biological ingredients. And that training produced an ESM atlas mapping 6.8 billion protein sequences and 1.1 billion predicted 3D structures.
Which surfaces entirely novel evolutionary connections that humans would never have spotted on their own.
And the laboratory results demonstrate exactly why that massive scale matters. ESM-Fold 2 is claiming state-of-the-art status on structure prediction, actively outperforming Google's AlphaFold.
To understand the impact, just look at the real-world lab results. It is already designing binders against 5 different cancer and immune targets, and it's achieving hit rates between 36 and 88%.
Wait, 88%? That is revolutionary. In traditional drug discovery, finding a molecule that successfully binds to a target can take years of trial and error with incredibly low success rates.
It really changes the game. Backed by a $500 million virtual biology initiative, Biohub is taking the highly complex, massively expensive infrastructure of drug discovery and just placing it as an open-source tool directly into the hands of global researchers.
That is going to accelerate everything. But pivoting from those technological breakthroughs, we have to look at the inevitable economic fallout they are going to create. The OpenAI Foundation has just made a very significant financial move.
This is a major story.
As the nonprofit arm that technically owns 26% of OpenAI's for-profit business, the foundation just committed an initial $250 million to help workers, communities, and economies navigate this exact AI-driven disruption.
The strategy there focuses heavily on tracking the true economic impact. They want to measure what people can actually do and access in this new economy, not just what their raw salary is.
Plus, they will back massive retraining and job transitions for displaced workers. And they are exploring some pretty radical long-term security ideas.
Like what?
We are talking about policy proposals like shifting taxes from labor to capital and establishing sovereign wealth funds to give everyday people durable stakes in the value created by AI.
But there is an immediate, palpable tension surrounding this announcement. The foundation plans to roll out its first initiatives later this year. However, with massive tech layoffs already spreading across industries right now, workers are highly anxious.
I mean, that makes total sense. People are losing their jobs today.
Exactly. Well, the argument echoing across the labor market is that concrete action is needed immediately to prepare the world for the age of AI. Workers are arguing they cannot pay their mortgages with long-term economic theorizing. They need the transition support today.
That covers our primary deep dives, but let's broaden our lens to capture the rest of the landscape. I'll hand it over to you to look at everything else happening in AI today.
Leading the broader news, we can connect directly to that exact worker anxiety we were just discussing. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman recently walked back his own AI job loss warnings.
Oh, really? What did he say?
In a recent interview, he stated it is unlikely AI will create a jobs apocalypse and admitted he was, quote, pretty wrong about the technology's near-term impact on the labor market. The timing of this reversal is critical to understand, though. OpenAI is reportedly preparing for a Q4 2026 initial public offering.
Wait, an IPO? At what valuation?
They are aiming for a massive $1 trillion valuation.
We really have to pause on that contrast. So the nonprofit foundation is spending $250 million because they see a massive, unavoidable economic crisis coming. But the CEO of the for-profit arm is suddenly downplaying that exact disruption right before asking investors for a $1 trillion valuation. That feels incredibly convenient.
It is a dynamic that the market is watching very closely, for sure. Now, turning to the hardware and labor that actually powers these massive models, Samsung Electronics' largest union just approved a new labor deal, securing massive payouts.
Good for them. How big are the payouts?
For roughly 78,000 workers are now eligible for annual bonuses of about $370,000 each.
Wait, $370,000 per worker annually. That is an insane bonus.
It is huge. Those bonuses are entirely driven by the company's soaring operating profit, which surged 750% in the first quarter. And that is purely due to the massive, insatiable demand for AI memory chips.
Wow. The infrastructure boom is very real.
Moving to the software side, we also have a wave of essential model and platform updates. OpenAI announced that GPT 5.5 is becoming the default model for free users. Consequently, they are cleaning house by removing GPT 5.2 and 5.3 codecs from Codex on June 2.
Oh, got it. So the older models are getting retired from the interface.
Yes, though developers will still have access to those models via the API. Over at Anthropic, alongside Opus 4.8, they rolled out heavy reliability upgrades for Claude Code.
I saw that. Did they fix the crashing issues?
They did. The upgrades include session recovery, better error message handling, and long context compaction. That essentially compresses massive amounts of text, so the AI doesn't lose the thread of the conversation, which drastically improves stability.
That is super useful for long coding sessions. What else is new?
Finally, Google debuted the Coral Board. This is a low-power development platform powered by its Coral NPUs, or neural processing units. These are chips designed specifically for on-device AI applications.
Meaning you do not need the cloud for everything.
Precisely. It means you can run things like real-time translation and hardware control locally without needing to constantly ping a cloud server.
The aggressive release cadences across all of these platforms are genuinely relentless. It feels like the entire industry is sprinting at full speed.
It really is. Wrapping up the news with consumer and business applications, the startup Cognition announced a $1 billion funding round, pushing its valuation to an astonishing $26 billion.
$26 billion. For Devon, right?
Yes. The company claims more than 10x growth since January, driven entirely by its Devon AI, which functions as an autonomous software engineer. In the consumer financial sector, Robinhood launched agentic trading and an agentic credit card.
That sounds slightly terrifying, letting AI trade your stocks.
It is definitely a bold move. It allows users to connect AI agents to their accounts to autonomously execute stock trades, manage their spending, and even automate purchases based on set parameters.
Wow. Okay. Anything else on the consumer side?
Lastly, YouTube announced it is aggressively fighting synthetic content. They are rolling out automatic AI-generated content detection, applying much more prominent labels to synthetic videos and shorts, and providing broader access to deepfake detection tools for creators.
Let's transition to the practical toolkit segment. We talk a lot about billion-dollar models, but let's look at today's trending AI tools and exactly how you would apply them to your daily workflows. First up, we have Incogni.
Oh, I've heard of this one. It's for privacy, correct?
Yes, you use this tool to automate the process of erasing your sensitive data, like your personal addresses and phone numbers, completely off the web, keeping your footprint secure. Next, for iOS users, Sesame provides a personal agent that actively thinks while you are talking to it.
So it does not wait for you to stop speaking.
Nope. Instead of waiting for you to finish a sentence, uploading it, and pausing, it creates a much more dynamic, real-time interaction. Then we have Harvey, which is bringing top-tier AI legal assistance directly to Android and natively into your email.
Which is perfect for legal professionals who need to parse complex documents or handle legal work on the go without sitting at a desktop.
Next is Runway. They have integrated their generative video capabilities directly into AI assistance via MCP.
MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, for those wondering.
Yes, and it essentially acts as a bridge, allowing you to generate video and images directly inside your assistant without ever switching applications or copying and pasting. Then there is Jenni. This is a specialized tool designed to drastically speed up your academic research and assignment drafting by helping you synthesize massive amounts of text.
That sounds like a lifesaver for students.
For developers and designers, Stitch allows you to take a quick, rough napkin sketch, scan it, and turn it into production-ready UI code in seconds.
Wait, literally from a napkin?
Literally from a napkin. Then we have One Scholar, which is another essential tool for academics. You use it to instantly check, find, and humanize academic citations, ensuring your references are flawless. Vivago allows you to generate highly consistent and visually compelling videos from very simple text prompts, maintaining character consistency across frames.
Character consistency in AI video is historically very difficult, so that is a big deal.
Absolutely. Finally, ASI.1 acts as your highly customizable personal AI, stepping in to handle daily tasks and completely coordinate your social planning and calendar.
A clear observation on the trend across all these tools is how AI is embedding itself directly into existing workflows. Tools like Harvey, operating entirely within your email client, and Runway generating content via MCP so you never leave your assistant, demonstrate a major shift.
It is becoming invisible in a way.
Yes, AI is moving entirely out of standalone, isolated chat windows. It is integrating directly into the interfaces where you already work, live, and communicate.
That deep integration brings us to the end of today's analysis. I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to mull over as you look at today's news.
I am curious to hear this.
Well, we have trajectory building models that constantly learn and adapt on the fly based on your habits. We have Robinhood deploying financial agents with real autonomous purchasing power. So what happens the moment your highly personalized, continuously learning agents start negotiating directly with massive enterprise orchestration models like Claude Opus 4.8 to buy services, manage your finances, or write code on your behalf?
It is a completely fascinating ecosystem developing around us. We encourage you to follow the podcast, share it with a friend, and most importantly, stay curious.
See you in the next episode.